Hi everyone, I'm Angela and welcome to Crafting with Angela. Hi everyone, I am back with my final video in Margreth and Toni's April Challenge ABC April 2025. It's Friday the 25th, the letter is V, which means I'm going to show you how to make vellum windows. V is for vellum windows. So here's a couple of samples that I have made before today. These are tags that I've made in a previous video. And all I've done here with this one, I have cut out a circle with a circle punch. I have stuck a piece of vellum into it, coated the back of the tag with coffee dyed paper, and stuck a stamp sticker on the front and back so it matches. So this is exactly the same tag as I made in the previous video, but you've still got the journaling spot in the back, but you've now got that feature window. On this one, I cut a double circle. So I cut a circle the same distance from each side and then sort of straightened the two parts in the middle to make more of an ovular shape. And that's because I wanted to put this butterfly in it, but the butterfly wasn't quite the right size for the circle, the largest circle punch that I had. So I've stuck this in here. I think it ties in really nicely with the green from the maps at the top. I haven't done anything on the back. I haven't stuck another butterfly on here. I haven't even covered the vellum. And that's just to show you that actually the vellum isn't that difficult to, it doesn't stand out obviously. So there's still got a journaling spot at the top. But now we've got this window part at the base. So what I'm going to do now is show you very quickly how to make a tag, just in case you haven't watched my previous videos. I'll fast forward through it after I've explained what I'm doing, and then I'll get to the nitty gritty of how you make the vellum windows. I have already cut myself out 2 pieces of white cardstock. It's very thin white cardstock, and that's only because we're going to be sticking multiple layers together. These are 3 inches across and just under 6 inches down. I think it's 5 7/8 of an inch. It's basically an A4 sheet of card folded in half, so it's the half length that. And the copy dyed paper has just been cut to the same dimension. That's going to cover the back. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to decorate the back of the tag. They're going to sit off to one side. I'm going to very quickly work on decorating the front of the tag, remembering that I'm going to be cutting a rectangular shape out of the center, so let's not be too worried about it. So in order to do this, I have a range of papers here. So these are a couple of pulls that I made of acrylic paints on my gel plate. So I have them just to add some color. I have some scraps from previous videos and some book pages. I have, this is a coffee dyed sheet from a magazine. I have some music pages, and then I have a page from a thesaurus. And all I'm going to do is kind of very quickly throw this together in a very rough way. Okay, just going to very quickly throw this together to put it onto this. Not spending too much time in the center, more focusing on the edges. In order to do this kind of tag, there are a couple of things I need. I need my trusty glue mat, because that's what I glue on, and then I have my glue stick. That's just for this stage. For creating the tag later on, I will require my Burley Art glue, some vellum, and my hole punch. But let's get going. Okay, this is one of the quickest tags I have thrown together, but that was deliberate because this is more about creating the vellum window. So I'm just going to give that. Okay, so what I've decorated the front. I have attached some coffee dyed paper to the back. I will trim this all down at the end once it's all glued together. And what we need to do now is cut out the hole in the center for the vellum window. In order for this to work, the way I find works best is line the two pieces up, and then I get a piece of tape. This is just a piece of washi tape. I just take a strip of it and line. Doesn't really matter which way you line these up. You can attach them at the end or attach them at the side. I just find this works really well. Keeps them together and stops them moving. And then when we cut the hole out, it means that everything lines up perfectly. Now, I am using this Martha Stewart hole punch, and I like it because it allows you to cut holes in the center. When I was using my circle punch earlier, there was a real problem because there was a real problem with how it worked in terms of, you know, getting far enough in. So this is just held together by magnets. This top line here is where the hole will punch, and all I do now is kind of line this up evenly on the base, as even as I can get it. Come in with the top. The magnets hold it in place, and then just push down. And when you lift this off, you can see the hole is punched through. And then what I want to do is, I don't want it just to be this size. I want to add a longer hole. So I am just lining this top circle up with the bottom row here, and that will just allow me to extend the gap. Okay, and what I have now is it's about a 3-inch gap in the middle of my tag. Now, I haven't cut my tag edges or anything like that. That's absolutely fine. What I'm going to do now is come in with that washi tape and pull it off gently so we don't break any of the top that's already on there. No point going to all this trouble and then ripping paper that's already on. Don't mind so much in the back because the coffee dyed paper always looks that bit rough anyway. So let's just gently pull these apart. Need a touch of glue there just to hold it down, and in this case I just come in with my Burley art glue just to make sure it's being held down enough. Okay, the other thing I need then is a piece of vellum for the middle. So I just have some scrap vellum here from the last time I was using it. all I want to do is come in and roughly measure how much we want to cut out. With things like this, I would always rather have too much vellum and have to trim it down than be kicking myself for not having put enough in. Really simple. I'm going to use my Burley Arts glue. Just run it around the edge of the cut hole. Okay. Then on the piece of vellum, I just put glue on the very edges of the vellum. All I'm doing now is coming in and pushing that down. Then I am just going to do exactly the same thing, put glue around the edge of the one side of the tags. Do remember when you're putting it at the top of the tag that you're going to be cutting the tag corners off, so do make sure you put enough there that it's going to hold it together. And then the easiest way to do this is to line the two center holes up if you can, and then push down on everything else. Okay. And that is the vellum window. All I'm going to do now is trim down the outside edge just to tidy this up, because we have got bits along here that have just don't quite line up as neatly as we would like. So, you shouldn't have to do this, but I always end up with pieces of my tags just not quite fitting right. And then the last thing, I'm going to cut the tag shape. So I go in on one side, work out where I want the piece to be, cut it off, flip it over, and cut it off the other side, and that means it is exactly the same shape. Okay, that's the front of the tag and the back. And now I'm just going to cut and decorate this. So I went through my stash earlier and found a couple of things. I have a couple of flowers that I like. I think I'm going to put them on here. I'm just trying to work out what colour works best. We have the yellow there, or we could possibly go for the contrasting colour for the orange. I really like that yellow. I think it works with the... Okay, so we'll go for that one. So that's going to be our centerpiece on the vellum. And then to go with that, I also went through some of my stamps. I have some specimen stamps here and various bits and pieces that I felt would go really well, and some other numbers and whatnot that I cut out. Don't know if I'm going to use them, but I just thought it would be good to have them and decide when we see them together to finish this off. So that's going to go there. I think we need something green to tie that together. number going there. Like that specimen at the side there, and the number 7. Okay, let's go with them. Let's move the rest of these labels out of the way so I don't get confused. I am going to stress try and darken down a bit these 2 white stickers that we were going to put on. I think that bright white is just too much on the okay. I'm going to come in with my glue again. Oops. It's a piece of glue that does not want to actually glue anything down. The last one, number 7. Okay. Take that out of the way. Trim this down again. Constantly trimming down the edges. Okay, going to take a pokey tool to remove the backing of the sticker, the flower sticker. Okay, I'm not quite sure if I can't seem to feel it backing on these, so just going to go in and put a drop of glue behind the flowers to hold them in place, and the leaves. Okay, I'll put that on with the glue. It'll probably come off at a later stage when I realise there is a backing on it. But there we go. That will dry clear once it actually is dry. And then the last bit, just going to come in and cut a hole tag here. Try and make sure it's roughly centered. I have a couple of clear hole reinforcers. They are white hole reinforcers. These are white, but I always like too white for anything I make, so just coming in with a bit of vintage photo and trying to darken them down. Always get the back one on, not quite accurate. There we go, that's better. Okay. And then the last thing I have is this is a piece of like twine ribbon that I've torn apart. So I'm going to take a couple of strands of it, maybe 3. I'll fold them over. Put them through the tag. When I do that, I just like to trim them to make sure those edges are relatively neat and tidy. Okay. And there we go. That is a really nice vellum pocket. You can see the flower from the other side. It's muted. I don't mind that. I think it works really well with the vellum. So that's my V for vellum window.